The platform was nearly empty when I stepped onto it. The clock above read 11:58 p.m., the last train of the night. Cold air crept across the tracks, and the fluorescent lights overhead buzzed weakly, flickering every few seconds. When the train screeched into the station, I realized how strange it looked. Only 3 cars, all dimly lit, their windows stained with grime. Still, I was too tired to care. I boarded. The car was silent. No passengers, no conductor. Just me. The doors hissed shut, and the train lurched forward. I chose a seat by the window, watching the city lights blur and fade as the train slipped into the tunnels. That's when I noticed something odd. The overhead lights flickered, plunging the car into near darkness for a heartbeat before buzzing back to life. In that moment of darkness, I thought I saw someone sitting across from me. A figure, tall, still. But when the light returned, the seat was empty. I told myself it was just my imagination. But the air felt heavier, colder. The train rattled on, faster than usual. The digital display above the door, which should have shown the next stop, was broken. Just a row of red, scrambled lines. I pulled out my phone, but there was no signal. Only static, like my phone itself was struggling to breathe. Then I heard it. A low sound, like breathing. Not mine. Slow, ragged inhales and exhales. My eyes darted around the car. No one. Yet the sound grew louder, closer, as if someone sat just behind me. I turned sharply. Empty seats. But on the glass window beside me, I saw it. My reflection wasn't alone. Behind me stood a dark silhouette, its face impossible to make out. My heart thundered. I spun around, and once again, there was nothing there. The lights flickered off. This time, they stayed off for longer than a second. In that thick darkness, I heard footsteps. Slow, heavy, walking down the aisle toward me. "Who's there?" I whispered, though my voice cracked. The footsteps stopped, right in front of me. When the lights finally snapped back on, I was alone. But on the seat across from me, something rested. A ticket stub, old, yellowed, edges burned. The words on it made my blood run cold. Passenger 1. Destination, nowhere. I stumbled toward the door, desperate to get off at the next stop. But the train never slowed. Station after station blurred past, the platforms empty, the signs unreadable. It was as if the train wasn't stopping anymore. Then a whisper drifted into my ear, so close I felt the cold breath on my skin. "You shouldn't have boarded." The lights went out again. This time they didn't come back on. It started with the feeling of being watched. At first, I brushed it off as paranoia. Walking home late from work, the streets always seemed darker, the silence always heavier. But one night, as I passed under a flickering streetlight, I noticed it. Footsteps behind me. Not hurried, not obvious. Just steady, matching mine. I quickened my pace. The sound followed. My chest tightened, and I fought the urge to run. I glanced over my shoulder. Nothing but shadows. Yet the weight of unseen eyes clung to me like a cold hand on the back of my neck. When I reached my apartment door, I practically slammed it shut. Safe. Or so I thought. The next morning, there was an envelope slipped under my door. No return address, no name. Inside, a single photograph. Me, walking down the very street I took last night. The angle was wrong. It wasn't from a security camera. Someone had been close. Too close. I wanted to tell someone, but who would believe me? I had no proof of a crime, just a creeping terror. So, I changed my routine. I took different streets, left at different times. But no matter what, the feeling never left. I could sense him behind me, just far enough to stay unseen. Then came the texts, unlisted number, nice blue jacket today. Don't walk so fast. You shouldn't ignore me. My blood ran cold. I threw my phone against the wall, but it didn't matter. He already knew where I was. One night, I decided I wouldn't go home. Instead, I ducked into a 24-hour cafe, sat by the window, and tried to convince myself I was safe. The warm lights and hum of voices felt like a shield. Until I noticed him. Outside, across the street. Standing just beyond the glow of the lamppost. A tall figure, face hidden by a hood, unmoving. He didn't come closer. He didn't leave. He just stood there, watching. I stayed until sunrise, and when I finally dared to look again, he was gone. That morning, another envelope waited under my door. This time, the photo was of me, sitting in the cafe, staring out the window. His shadow blurred in the reflection behind me. I couldn't breathe. He was always there. I stopped sleeping. Every creak in my apartment became a threat. Every shadow, a figure. Then, last night, I heard it. The faint click of my lock turning. I froze. The door opened slowly, deliberately. My phone was dead, my body too rigid to move. The last thing I saw was the silhouette of a man stepping into my living room, closing the door behind him. And then, darkness. It was supposed to be harmless fun. Just three of us, Mia, Alex, and me, sitting in Mia's basement on a rainy night. The storm outside rattled the windows, but inside, the only light came from a few flickering candles. In the center of the floor sat an old Ouija board Mia had found at a thrift shop. "We'll just ask silly questions," she said, her grin shaky but brave. Nothing serious. We placed our fingertips on the planchette. The wood felt colder than the air. "Is anyone here with us?" Alex asked, mocking the cliché. At first, nothing happened. The silence stretched, broken only by the steady drip of rain outside. Then, slowly, the planchette scraped across the board. "Yes." We laughed nervously, accusing each other of moving it. No one admitted it. "Fine," Mia said. "If you're really here, what's your name?" The planchette glided again, faster this time. Damon. The candles flickered violently, as if a breath had blown across the room. I tried to pull my fingers back, but Mia snapped, "Don't let go. That's the rule." Alex smirked, trying to lighten the mood. "Okay, Damon. Prove it. Give us a sign." The basement door slammed shut. Hard. We jumped. My pulse hammered in my throat. "This isn't funny," I whispered. But the planchette was already moving. L-O-O-K. We turned toward the corner of the room. At first there was nothing. Then something shifted in the shadows. A shape, taller than any of us, darker than the darkness itself, its head bent low, watching. "End the game," I hissed. "Say goodbye." But the board wasn't finished. Our hands were dragged across the letters. Mia was trembling. We didn't move it. The candles blew out all at once. The basement drowned in blackness. I could still feel the smooth wood beneath my fingers, the planchette twitching on its own. A whisper slid into the room, low and guttural. My name. I yanked my hands away. The planchette flew across the board with a sharp crack, as if something had hurled it. The shadows surged. In the pitch dark, I felt a hand brush against my arm. Ice cold, too long, too sharp. I screamed. Mia fumbled for the matches, and finally, one candle flared back to life. The corner was empty. The board lay overturned, the letters glaring up at us like open eyes. "We end it now," I said, my voice breaking. Together, we forced the planchette back to the board and slid it to goodbye. The storm outside died down. The silence returned. We didn't speak for the rest of the night. When morning came, I swore I'd never touch that cursed thing again. But later, when I unpacked my bag at home, something tumbled out. A small wooden planchette, the same one we had left behind in Mia's basement. And etched into the underside, in jagged letters I know none of us carved, was a message. Game not over. If these stories sent shivers down your spine, imagine what's waiting in the next video. Don't forget to hit like. If you enjoyed the scares, subscribe to never miss another chilling tale, and turn on the notification bell so you'll be the first to enter the darkness with us again. And tell me in the comments, which story haunted you the most tonight?